Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Let Fear Bounce. I am Kim Lengling, your host, and I am so happy and pleased that you've decided to spend just a small part of your day with myself today and my special guest, Mike Reed. Now, he is the heart and soul behind SoundQuest and SoundQuest Academy. Mike's journey is all about transformation, turning passion into purpose and sound into healing. As a musician, educator, and sound healing practitioner, he's led countless people around the world through powerful restorative experiences. Mike blends soul and skill to create something truly special. Through his sound healing blueprint, he's now helping others rise above fear and doubt to build thriving, meaningful careers in sound healing. So get ready to be inspired by a story of passion, purpose, and the courage to follow your calling. Mike, welcome to Let Fear Bounce.
Thanks for that introduction. Nice to meet you, Kim, and it's great to be here.
I love having folks on, especially when you do something that I don't know a whole lot about, but I do love music and the way certain sounds make you feel like you can feel them straight into your soul.
Mm.
So I wanted to say this up front. I appreciate what you do because I find it fascinating and I just don't know enough about it. So I was so excited to have you on today to share with the listeners what it is you do and why you do what you do. So let's start there.
Okay.
What got you on this path to sound healing?
Yeah, it's an interesting story, looking back, and connecting the dots like that. I was, rather, um, I don't know, to be honest, just kind of miserable in my life about 10 years ago. And I was working in this job in a oil mine in northern Canada, driving around in a big truck for 12 hours a day and working amongst people that I didn't feel like I fit in with. And I was just working for the money. And the pay was okay, but it was kind of a soul sucking situation for me. And I was also, just out of a pretty tumultuous relationship. And, I was just kind of like getting to this point of desperation in my life of seeking healing and wellness. I didn't have any sort of spiritual practice at that time, or I was just sort of flapping in the wind in life and falling on my face over and over again. And finally, I was like, I need to do something about this because I'm doing life wrong, I think. And so I got sort of what I call the gift of desperation, where I started to seek out healing and wellness for myself. And so I was doing, everything from float tank therapy, sensory deprivation tanks, and breath work. And I started with yoga actually, and I started to realize that like doing these activities like yoga, breath work, those sort of holistic wellness practices could actually change my inner state. And I started to feel a lot better, after I would do like a yoga class or a breathwork session or, a float tank or these sorts of things. And I remember I experienced on the receiving end sound healing for the first time. And it blew my mind because I'd never experienced that deep of a meditative experience before, where my nervous system was having a release. I was having, visuals. I was like deep in a relaxed parasympathetic nervous system state. And it blew my mind. And I was fascinated by it because I have a musical background. The undercurrent of my life has been, music has been a constant thing since I was a little kid. Starting with piano and then guitar and then the drums. And I've been in several different bands along the way, playing for entertainment purposes. So sound healing grabbed me and fascinated me because it does have musical elements to it. And I didn't realize until that point that sound and vibration can have this profound healing effect on one's nervous system and mind and body. And and I was blown away. So I got obsessed with it from that point, and I started to read about it and learn about it, acquiring instruments, and started to then offer one-on-one sessions for people in my home for free, just for their feedback, right? And I just was compiling data at that point of what made an effective sound healing experience. And once I felt ready, I then went to the place where I was practicing yoga and said, "Hey, would you be open to doing a sound bath event here?" And they said, "Sure, yeah, we'd love that." And then that's what started. That was like sort of the birthing of what's now my business, SoundQuest. And SoundQuest is where I go out and I offer these events throughout the region where I live, and also beyond. You know, I go on tours with it and everything. And over the last better part of a decade now, this has been what I've been able to create as a lifestyle and as a business. And I've helped thousands of people now through sound, and it's been an incredible journey. It's just opened up all kinds of portals of opportunity and new relationships, and it's been a really interesting adventure.
That's a long way from driving a big truck.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, it's a different world now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Much more enriching, I am sure.
Yes, yeah, it's like 1,000 times better than any
Yeah,
job that I've ever had, for sure.
I bet. So for folks, folks that are out there, they're just in the grind every day, like you were, because the majority of Americans are, or
Mhm,
wherever it is you may live. You're in the grind, you're working, and a lot of times you're working just to pay the bills. Your job might not be fulfilling.
mhm,
What you offer, is that something that, because I just don't know enough about it. So I'm coming at you as a complete novice. So say I'm overworked and underappreciated and just stressed all the time. So when I come home, it's like, gosh, I just need 15, 30 minutes just to myself. What can I do to be able to breathe and just take some of this off of me? Is this sound therapy, is that something that would help with that? Is that something someone can do just on their own at home, or that they listen to, like
mhm.
they go to, do you have recordings or something like that? How does that actually work?
Yeah, well, one thing you could try is going to my YouTube channel, SoundQuest Academy, youtube.com/at SoundQuest Academy. And I have a free 50-minute sound bath that people can try out. It's not as amazing as when you're in person for
Mm,
a sound healing experience, because you can really feel the full body
right.
resonance from these instruments. But it's the next best thing for sure. So that's somewhere they can start, and watch my 50-minute sound bath experience, and just put headphones on, lie down, and rest and drop in. But I'll explain a little bit about how it works. So with sound and vibration, with these instruments like gongs, crystal singing bowls, tuning forks, ocean drums, harmonium, these are the instruments that are used in a sound bath experience. Um,
So
and
how do you know which one to use for each circumstance?
well, I have sort of an experience that I bring people through.
Okay.
And so that involves, starting with dropping people in through guided meditation. So I'm starting with, let's say, chimes or Tibetan singing bowls while I'm speaking, and getting people to do sort of a body scan, relaxation technique, maybe some breath work. And then I drop people in using a variety of different instruments, and typically a 60 to 90-minute experience that I offer.
Oh,
Yeah, singing bowls are another
singing bowl.
instrument that I use. Crystal singing bowls. There's also Tibetan singing bowls or metal singing bowls. And yeah, if you're using the singing bowls, or the sound facilitator is using singing bowls, you'll definitely want them to be musically aesthetic, like in certain notes of the musical scale. and combine them together so that they are in resonance and not dissonance. I
Right.
mean, you can have some dissonance, which actually can be effective to go from dissonance to resonance back and forth in a session, but typically you want them to be aesthetically like within a certain musical scale that fit together nicely because the listener, the receivers on the receiving end, it makes your whole being feel more relaxed when you're hearing sounds that are in resonance together.
That feel, yeah, it would
I
make, well,
feel
you
like
don't want
in
to hear, you
tune.
don't want to hear three or four different sounds that are clashing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can have a little bit of that, like, and you get what's called binaural frequencies, right? If you play certain keys of singing bowls, and you'll get this kind of wom 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 kind of
Okay.
sound, and that actually has a interesting effect on the brainwaves. In fact, you mentioned how people can experience this like after a day of work. There's things called binaural beats frequencies, and you can find these on like Spotify, and you can go and search for these or YouTube. And what I would recommend if people want to have an efficient sort of reset in the middle of the day or like get energy, maybe they're having an afternoon energy slump. One way of overcoming that is to go and put your headphones in and listen to delta brainwaves frequencies, like delta binaural frequencies. Just type that in and you'll find something. And you'll start to descend into the delta brainwave. So you can have a delta nap or even a theta nap. So there's probably theta brainwave binaural frequencies that you can listen to, and just lie down with those in your headphones, and you'll have a deep, deep rest. You'll probably go into what's called a non-sleep deep rest,
Mm.
and then you can come out of that after 30 minutes to an hour or maybe 90 minutes even, and feel completely reset and recharged and come back to the rest of your day with focus and energy.
And who couldn't use that?
Right. Yeah. I think that
Everybody.
should be a protocol in like, corporate offices and
I I agree.
workplaces.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, because like you said with your job, you said it was soul sucking, you know, driving
Yeah, it
truck and
can
just
be, right? But if you can,
if you
you
can find those little things, those tips and tricks for your own self, your how you go through your day to help you over those slumps, how awesome, And you
hmm
can listen, like you said, what you might not get the full effect of as an in person, but you're still going to get benefit from it, even if you're sitting out in your car at lunchtime,
hmm
listening to it with headphones off your phone.
right.
You're going to get a benefit from it.
hmm Absolutely.
How awesome. So what are the types of folks that you see typically that benefit from sound bath?
My events, I'm not really, targeting a specific demographic. Everyone is welcome. So I'm quite a generalist. I find that people of all ages and genders and like anyone can come and experience my sound bath. But typically, I see about 80 to 90% women age like 35 to 55 coming to my events. It seems to just naturally attract that. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
promote
no,
this,
but as a
but
female, I can understand that because that age range you just said is a very, very busy time. Especially if
mhm,
you're married, you've got kids that you're raising kids, you maybe work full time. It's very busy and very stressful time. That
mhm,
that time frame. For me, I know it was
mhm.
those years. So that doesn't surprise me. That's interesting though.
Yeah, it's interesting how that continues to be the trend. And then typically, the men who come to my events, you get the odd man who comes on his own, but typically they're brought there with their spouse or their
Yeah,
partner. You know, it's like a date night kind of thing or
right.
something like
Or
that.
I watched the football game with you, so you can do this with me.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but it is interesting. But I mean, I think that's the trend with a lot of things like yoga classes. You see mostly women in yoga classes
Yeah.
and yeah, but you know, I'll serve whoever wants to experience what I do.
So you offer events to groups and stuff, and you do one-on-one as well, right?
I don't do typically one-on-one. I started that way, but now I offer
Okay.
to groups, and then yeah, I have I'm available for private bookings and corporate events and wellness retreats and all that
Okay.
sort of.
So do you also teach others to become a practitioner of
I
this?
do, yes. That's what I do in SoundQuest Academy now
Okay, so
is
share about that. That's pretty cool.
yeah, so you know, a lot of people are looking for something that they can do either part-time or create a career out of this. And sound healing is, you know, a booming healing modality right now in the wellness industry. And it's popping up everywhere. I mean, I was just hired by Range Rover to do a week-long corporate event with them. I just did a corporate retreat, leadership retreat, and was doing a sound bath in this like boardroom. And I'm seeing it pop up everywhere. Every city around the world, there's, you know, you can go and search wherever you live and search for sound bath event, and you'll probably find something on platforms like Eventbrite most nights of the week now, it seems, you know, depending on what city you're in. So it's becoming immensely popular because people are starting to realize like how powerful it is and how amazing it is. And so, for anybody that's interested in doing this, if you have like the inclination to explore this as something you practice, what I do in my courses is teach not only the art and the science and the application of sound healing, but I also show them students how to create a lifestyle, a business, honor it as a structure and create systems that are proven that have helped me and all my students consistently fill rooms and sell out events and create multiple different income streams from this craft. And the cool thing about it is that with sound healing, it's unlike healing modalities like massage therapy or acupuncture or physiotherapy or that sort of thing, where you can only work on one person at a time.
Mhm.
The fascinating thing about it is that sound and frequency, you can work on many people all at once, right? So I did an event where I worked with over 500 people at the same time lying down, right? And so you can see, like, if you structure things in a certain way, you know, you can have 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 people that you're serving all at the same time. And if all those people are paying like 40, 50, $60 per person, in terms like if you're treating this as what you do for a living, it's actually can be quite lucrative, right? So your time in for dollars out can be amazing because you're working with many people all at once rather than just one-on-one individual sessions.
So how long does the academy run for someone to become an actual are they certified? Do they get it's like they're a certified practitioner? How does that work?
Well, with sound healing currently, there's no governing body that manages the
Okay.
qualifications of healers or
Hmm.
sound healing facilitators. So it's really up to us to really understand what we're doing, what we're talking about, and how to thoroughly, you know, host an experience like this where you are doing an effective job. So that's what I teach in my academy is like I want to thoroughly train them, and I have methods of getting their sort of reps in and getting practice before they go out into the world and start serving people in public, right? And so yeah, it is like a certification program. I have three programs. I have the intro to sound healing. So it's just for people that want to get like a basic understanding of how it all works. And there's a lot of value in that course. And then I have what's called the Sound Healer Blueprint course, which is, from all the stuff that's in the introduction course of sound healing, but it goes a step further and shows you everything from marketing, event planning, branding, right? Partnerships, collaborations, creating multiple streams of income, and turning all of this into a well-oiled machine so that it's structured in a certain way so that your income can match and exceed your monthly expenses and lifestyle costs, so that you can potentially do this full time and step away from any unfulfilling work. My passion in the SoundQuest Academy is helping people step away from unfulfilling work and maybe a job that they don't love and want to step more into something they're passionate about and fulfilling and on a mission, because that was my path and that's what I want to help people with, right? And then I have the mastermind program, which is a year-long program where we have like all kinds of guest speakers, the experts in different areas within the industry, and marketing experts and branding experts and business experts and event planning experts and sound healing experts. It's a really cool program that'll start again probably this fall.
Oh, awesome. So that's more of a deep dive into really getting your business going.
Yeah. I think it's really a good idea to have like a full year of mentorship.
Oh, I
If
agree.
you're
Yeah.
really diving in and want to really launch this thing like to the highest level it can be for you, then having like someone walking alongside of you for a period of time like that is immensely valuable.
Oh, I agree. I completely agree on that. Because you don't want folks just going, I mean, you're excited and stuff, but I don't think, and I'm coming at this from an author standpoint. You might write a phenomenal book, but that doesn't mean you're good at the sales or the marketing of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or when you become an author, it's actually a business.
Yeah.
And you don't want people don't want to look at it like that because you're like, no,
Mhm.
I just want to write the books. Well, no, it's actually a business now.
Right.
You're selling them, it's a business. Now you have to learn how to sell them, how to
Right.
market them, what's your brand going to be? Are you going to bring, all those things that don't come naturally to most folks. You have to learn it.
Yeah. And I always say like, for the people that are kind of dabbling in something or they're kind of hobbyists with something, if you really want to impact more people, right, and you really want to help more people, you're coming from that place, honoring it as a business is the way to impact more people, have more impact in the world, and having like a structure and honoring it like, this is my business, this is my career. You're going to be helping more people that way.
Indeed. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
And yeah, so that's so true. Anything you do that you want to impact more people is just I think it's really important to have a structure and learning all these skills that you might not have been thinking that you're getting into this as a writer, like you say, for as author. But yeah, you have to learn all these spin-off skills,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
And it's necessary. It's not something that it's just suggested. It's
Hmm.
absolutely necessary if you want to succeed. And
Hmm.
depending upon what you look at as your level of success, like you said, some might just be hobbyists, but then others might, be like, no, I want to completely change my life. This is what I want to do, but I also want to help others as I'm doing it. But I have
Hmm.
to pay the bills. So you have to learn all of that. I think one of the big things is you starting anything new, and you know this too, starting anything new, you have to have an open mind and be
Hmm.
open to learning new things that you never thought that you would learn.
Right. Yeah, it's a great journey. Just being an entrepreneur in general has showed me so much about myself, and it's been like
Oh, yeah.
a real adventure and quest for personal development too. Right. So I've evolved so much as a person, as an individual, just through this journey, without even knowing that was what I was getting myself into.
Right, right. I mean, I often talk to folks and they're like, well, how'd you learn how to do that? And I'm going, the last 5 years, all of these new things. Now, I'm a sales and marketer by trade. That's what I did for 25 years in the corporate world. So I had that background, which was very beneficial to me.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other stuff on the back end, like podcasting. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to edit. Did I
Hmm.
need a microphone? I don't know. So all these things I had to teach myself, or I got online, some courses I paid for, but there's an awful lot of stuff on there that you can, and I'm not talking about, the sound bath stuff. I'm talking about that extraneous stuff that you have to learn. You can
Hmm.
learn a lot of that and find a lot of that for free on YouTube or many other sites that you can learn the basics
Hmm.
to get you going on the business end of it. But I love that you have that year-long course
Hmm.
because that sounds to me like it's a deep dive you're really digging into, especially if you've got the experts coming on,
Hmm.
those ones that's their thing, that's their ballywick, you know?
Yes.
And you can really, really benefit. How awesome. I love how you have everything in a package. So,
Hmm.
you can, okay, last question before we get going. This just popped in my head. You're a practitioner, so you're helping others as they're listening to heal. But when you're doing, how's it affecting you when you personally are creating the sound?
Great
Can you
question.
do can
Yeah.
you do that for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you could. If someone just wanted to, have a meditation practice where they had a gong at home or some singing bowls, you could definitely use that as sort of like a meditation supplement. You could look at it that
So you
way.
can still get the benefits even though you're creating the sounds yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you're still a bit in the executive functioning where you're
Right.
task orientated
Right.
because you're.
Because you're actually doing it. Right.
Yeah. But I noticed that whenever I create a soundscape for other people, even if I'm going to my event where I'm feeling like not, maybe it's a bit of an off day for me, or like I'm just sort of tired or whatever, like something is like, I'm not like 100% like motivated at that day or something like that. I still always come out at the end of a sound bath feeling like uplifted,
Yeah.
super like calm and zen like, and also just being in service to other people is, I think, is medicinal for
It
sure.
is. Yes, it is.
And,
And that's
and
that's scientifically proven.
I'm sure it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is something to that after, I finish an event and people are lining up to thank me. This is the first thing that I've ever done for work where people are like lining up to thank me afterwards. I'm like,
Right.
wow, this is new. Um, because I've
But
always had this
knowing that you're helping
job.
people, that's such a actually it's a rush sometimes because you're just like, wow, I'm not worthy of this,
Hmm.
and yet they're getting a benefit from it. And what a blessing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's a good feeling. But also, I think the sound and vibration does have an impact because I notice like my entire state is, completely like neutralized or whatever. It's just like I feel so zenned out at the end of
Yeah.
the sound bath. And I also think that if people want to dive into like sound healing for themselves, using the voice is very powerful. Chanting,
Okay.
using the voice to resonate the body in certain ways.
Like the
Humming.
Gregorian chanter guys.
Yeah, like you could chant with oming or humming, right? And you just feel the resonance in your body. So if you learn these techniques of chant or using the voice to resonate the body, it can be a very powerful sound healing tool to use.
I've listened to Gregorian chants before, and it's just amazing.
Hmm.
I'm just like, this is just so cool. I don't understand a lot of it, but it's really cool. Yeah, how neat. Last question. I know I said that last question, but this is the last question. Do you customize your sessions depending upon the group that you're providing for?
Absolutely. Yeah. So whenever I'm booked for private events or that sort of thing, I always want to. understand like what is the intention of this gathering,
There
what
you go.
these people need,
Hmm.
right? So I usually ask the organizer, like, what's the vibe of the group? What are they learning on this retreat, or what is the intention of this gathering today? And then yeah, I'll sort of just do a little bit of a contemplation
Hmm.
before I arrive and serve this experience to this particular group, and then yeah, it's sort of customized. And the things that I change are not so much the instrumentation or the templates of the soundscape, but more about like what I say. I do a lot of guided meditation at the beginning and bringing people out at the end of these sessions. And so I think there's a lot of power in helping them set an intention for themselves,
Yeah.
first of all, and then yeah, guiding them through sort of a theme of what it is that they are working towards as a group or as individuals.
Awesome. This has been awesome stuff, Mike. Thank you for sharing all of that with us and with the listeners. I'm sure they're finding it just as fascinating as I am. So let folks know where they can find you and all of your good stuff.
Yeah, I would say if you're on Instagram, follow me at Sound Quest and Sound Quest Academy. There's two different Instagram accounts. You'll see a blue logo. That's me. And YouTube, if you want to have any sort of, it's a great place to start. Like I have a lot of instrument playing technique tutorials on there if anyone's interested in gongs or singing bowls or flute or harmonium or that sort of thing. I also have a sound bath on my YouTube channel that people can try. So go to youtube.com/ at SoundQuest Academy and go down the YouTube rabbit hole with me.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Mike, I ask all of my guests as we round out the show to please toss out a nugget of hope, something motivational or inspirational that the listeners can tuck away and carry with them for the rest of the day. So, what would your nugget of hope today be?
Yeah. Um, One thing that I love to contemplate on and think about is, and it's also my lived experience, is as you walk on the way will appear, right? So having faith in the path that you're pursuing, and if you're on this path, as you walk along, people are going to come if your intentions are right, if you're in the right sort of if you have the right intentions for the path you're on, right? If it's aligned with who you are,
Right.
if it's sort of an ikigai. I love that ikigai concept of it's something that you're interested in, that you love, you've gotten good at it, and it's something that the world needs, something that you can be paid for. And as you walk on that path, if it's all aligned with your ikigai, then it's almost like something else comes in, like providence comes in and meets you halfway. So you have to show the universe that you're doing this, you're committed, and once you commit to that path, something else seems to come in and help you out. That's my lived experience, and all these opportunities and windows of uh, people and portals of opportunities start to reveal themselves, and things that I could never have planned or foreseen started to happen. And so this journey has been pretty incredible in that way, because I just keep walking on this path and things just keep unfolding, almost like feels like without effort.
Yeah.
It's just sort of in this flow, which
Got
is
to
kind of,
believe it, believe in yourself and believe in your dream. There you go.
yeah.
Awesome. That's a beautiful nugget. Thank you for sharing that with everybody today.
Yeah, my pleasure, Kim. Thanks so much.
And thank you for being my guest today. This has been a true pleasure and fascinating, fascinating stuff. I love learning new things and I'm completely new to learning about sound bathing. So thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your journey with everybody. I really appreciate your time today.
Appreciate you too. Thanks so much, Kim.
Everybody out there listening, I'm so glad that you tuned in and spent just a little bit of your time today with myself and Mike. Everybody out there, this is Kim Lengling, the host of Let Fear Bounce. Thank you so much once again. Everybody be well, stay well, and above all, be blessed.
Kindness. It's simple, powerful, and free. Yet, it holds the extraordinary ability to change someone's day or even their life. Order your copy of Nuggets of Hope, Cultivate Kindness on Amazon.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Let Fear Bounce. New episodes drop each week, folks, on YouTube and Spotify and most listening platforms. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all the things. So until next time, folks, take a deep breath, be kind to yourself, and as always, let fear bounce.